I want to be a trusting person. That's who I want to be. I want to be someone who can trust. If someone betrays that trust, we start to feel like it's our fault because we didn't manage them or supervise them well enough, right? But the reality is, trusting someone is never the wrong choice.
If we're talking about a couple that has been together, I'm just going to say 10, 15 years in a relationship, things have gone well. For the most part, they've got the kids are doing well. The relationship is doing well, but something comes up that brings to light this codependency that you're talking about. One of them realizes something's going on. One of them starts to feel like maybe it's not working. And someone shows up to you, Gabby. It's the wife, it's the husband. And maybe it's, I'm going to go extreme here. Maybe something has happened to break the trust, like a thing, not just, we've been talking about codependency a little bit, but something has happened to break the trust. Are you feeling that you're not feeling, as you're working with this person or listening and holding space to them, holding space for them, does it involve going deeper into them as a person so that then you're not necessarily focusing on the thing, you're allowing them to be able to do some, as we talked about in the other episodes, self-awareness that helps them maybe to bring that thing to play. And maybe we just to bring it to light, we're talking about infidelity. There's infidelity in the marriage. Mm-hmm. What is the approach to working with that person as they're trying to figure out their marriage?
So, oh gosh, this of course is a hard one for because we want to be able to be confident, differentiated human beings that feel really good and accepting of who we are, and that we are allowing the people around us to be who they're going to be, right? We're not managing everyone. That's that differentiated space. But because of that, there's inherent risk. When we're not controlling people, they are going to do what they're going to do. And I would like to posit that in a relationship where it is interdependent and it is less codependent, that the boundaries might be a little clearer. There'll be less control and more boundaries. So you're just communicating this idea that this is who I'm going to show up as in this relationship. This is what fidelity looks like to me. I'm not going to manage you. I'm not going to check you. I'm going to trust you. 100%, I'm just going to trust you because I don't want to live in this hypervigilant space. And I want to be a trusting person. That's who I want to be. I want to be someone who can trust. If someone betrays that trust, we start to feel like it's our fault because we didn't manage them or supervise them well enough, right? But the reality is, trusting someone is never the wrong choice, right? Especially your primary person in your life, trusting them, that of course you want to trust them, knowing full well they could betray that trust. You still want to be able to trust them, right? If you are with someone that you can't trust unless you're managing them and supervising them, then you are definitely not with someone, you shouldn't be with that person. If the only way they behave themselves is if you supervise them, you need to let that person go. Because I don't want to become the kind of person who is monitoring and distrusting someone. So I want to have people in my lives that for the most part are trustworthy, right? So when a person comes in and they're upset about a betrayal, if it hasn't happened yet, I have a lot of people who are just really, really nervous or, paranoid or, what if, right? You almost introduce that energy into the relationship when you have that, because now you've brought something. I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship with somebody who's jealous and is constantly accusing you of doing things or whatever. Now you've brought that into the relationship. Well, I wasn't thinking about being unfaithful, but now that's all I can think about because that's all you talk about. So now the energy's there a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So one one part of it is just helping that person recognize how to regulate and become a trusting person. I think that's what we all want to be. And then when someone does betray that trust, the questions are, is this someone now that I can learn to trust again? Or is this someone that in order to be in a relationship with them, I have to monitor them? That's the only way. That's codependence. Codependence is, and they will tell you, well, can you just check my phone and make sure, and maybe you need to like have the password so that I don't, whatever, right? No, that's codependence, because not only does that make you feel responsible for their behavior, it makes them think you're responsible for their behavior.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So helping the person get to that place to where they're in their own ship, boat. Mm-hmm. So coaching them through that and being able to work through that, because maybe they have coming from that codependency place where they've been constantly managing, and now they've got the awareness that the only way for them to move forward in a healthier way is to start to identify these boundaries, less codependency. What does that look like? I mean, what is that process seems almost like not, there's no light, because you've lived so many years with that. I don't want to say behavior, but practice. And now you're saying, oh, we need to come out of that pattern. Mm-hmm. What does that look like? I mean, that seems daunting.
Yeah. It just depends on where you are. Like if you're someone that doesn't have a way of taking care of yourself, right? Systemically as a society, that's a huge issue. I have 3 daughters. There's no way I want them having the message that somebody else will take care of you.
Yes.
Right. That's a systemic issue. Right.
Right.
So, but when somebody comes in and they're in a position where they need to set a boundary, but they can't, because that means they're off the ship. If they set the boundary, then it's about slowly building that your own, ground up, going back to the beach. And it's very, very unsatisfying sometimes, because it is about your own work. I think a lot of times when we're in panic mode or we've been hurt, we're looking for something that somebody will say that means it's somebody else's job to fix this.
So true.
Right? Which is like, tell me I'm right and he's wrong, and so he has to fix it, and let's control him into fixing this.
Yeah.
And it's just never going to happen. And that's very unsatisfying. It can be very unsatisfying sometimes to say a healthy relationship is one where you can't control what the other person does. You just say, this is who I'm going to be in the relationship, and this is how I will respect you. This is how I'm going to show up for you in this relationship. And I'm asking that that's how you show up for me. And if you can't do that, like be faithful, monogamous. For me, monogamy is how I want to be in my relationship. If that's not what you want, then we cannot be in the same relationship, because we have different expectations.